class finished, he was there next to the whole gas station. He was saying that he saw
It's not working yet?
I'm sorry.
Obviously, these are little things we're gonna have to. All right.
Alright, so sorry about the technical problem. So I'm just gonna explain. So this is where I live in the countryside. And so here so this is a circle house, and that's my bed with my backpack. Then you see the where we keep the blankets and everything. This big thing is a chimney that goes up. That's my bed in the thing. And this is the stove where we cook and heat up here. That's my mom doing the stuff here, and that's the kitchen areas where we cook and religious things over here. This is where all the things we bring water from the well and the wardrobe, all the good stuff kept. And then you will see the door entrance from the outside. So basically, this is the circle house where I live, where I grow up, and this is very, very important to me. And the reason why I showed this one is because I'm a countryside girl, nomadic family, and in the countryside, Mongolia, we have 3 million people, but only 800 are there. Of them are nomadic people, but this number is dropping very quickly. Why? Because
Just reduce that screen.
So because of the low income of the family in the countryside, they don't have enough money to support their family, kids, and livestock. So that's one of the reasons. And the second is climate change. In Mongolia, we have very dry season, drought, and harsh winter. This is all because of climate change. And so that's one of the reasons why it's dropping. And as an origin of countryside person, I don't want to see this happening, because I want to keep this one and to explore and show other people, you know. So that's why we came up with this idea called Mongolia Travel Plus. This is a youth travel company. So we will be delivering services under the mission of unlocking global youth potential through volunteer tourism in Mongolia. And my colleague, our teamwork, she's gonna tell you about what are the products we are offering for the clients and who's our market.
So we have 2 target markets. The first one, we are targeting as American teenagers, whose age is from 16 years old to 18 years old. And the second, we are focusing on the Chinese and Mongolian young people who are from 16 years old to 22 years old. And especially for the people who are studying in the international schools in the cities. And we offer a 2-week-long volunteer tourism program in Mongolia. The first week is like the cultural immerse for our volunteers. They will live with nomadic families in the Gir, so this is Gir, and they will do some activities for the local community, like to watering their livestock and sharing the sheep's wool. And at the second week is like the educational program part. So our volunteers will live in the Gir camps in the national park of the Mongolia, and they will work with the local volunteers to for the environment workshops on climate change and environment protections. They also need to do some activities like the maintenance work for the park, like build the road signs and developing the factories for the visitors, and provide the information for the visitors and planting the trees for the park.
So just to add something here, so this is, you know, as most of you are familiar with volunteer tourism, this is not like leisure, so it's more of engaging with local people. So while we are having visitors from America, China, which are our main target, we will have Mongolian local people like me, youth, who are living in the city, but they are very, how can I say, distant from the culture. So we are really integrating those people also. So that why we are doing that, because these people speak English and they're Mongolian, so they can be very interpreter, like giving us some assistance in terms of language. And also people who are coming on this program, students, they will be learning a lot. And it's the program that we are doing on climate change and environmental protection is not heavily on their side. There will be some projects and some NGOs who will be helping to develop this program. And it may sound still abstract, but for example, people in the countryside, they're not really aware of climate change. So our main goal is to strengthen their climate change resilience through this program. At least informing them, what's happening and what are the things we can do day-to-day basis. And so how are we going to deliver this project? So we believe that our, obviously the educational background in tourism and hospitality, this program, as well as the networking we had here will be a big impact. And at the same time, we both have hands-on experience in tourism and hospitality. For me, I worked as a tour guide, tour manager back in hometown for 5 years, and also specifically on youth volunteer tourism. I worked in India for two months, and also I worked in Mongolian youth program from kids from Netherlands and Mongolia. So that I think will be very important, helpful. Yeah.
So for me, I have 3 years working experience in the human resource department and administration department, especially for the tourism and hospitality industry. And I also led the volunteer team in 2014 in China Open, which is a international competition game like the US Open. And all this work experience and what we study in the school will also help us to build and management our volunteer team.
Yeah. And lastly, how are we going to differentiate ourselves from other tour operators in Mongolia? Currently there are 500 tour operators, but it's more of like leisure and discovery inventory. So there's no single tour company that only focuses on youth volunteer tourism. So that makes us stand out from the market. But at the same time, ours is more educational plus cultural product. So it's a little different from commercial tours. So that's what we consider will be our differentiation. And thank you so much for your listening. And
Questions? I was going to say San Martin.
So I'm just curious about how you might the concept of funding, how you might fund the projects. Would the volunteers pay? Would you get government assistance and support? Just that sort of thing.
Sure. So with the funding, to start the tour company, we would start our own money, even though it's not that much. Yeah. And then our program will be, the participants, they have to pay for the tour program. All the operational costs and human resource, they will be quoted, so they have to pay. And second is we will be looking for some projects, especially since it's connected to climate change and youth education. So we will be applying for some grants from international organizations. That would be one. And second is we will be doing for both B2B and B2C. So that means the organizations who offer volunteer tourism in America or in China, we can approach to them and we can make some agreements. I don't know if that answers.
Yeah. Nope, that's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. So that's our initial.
How large a group would you have come to each of your programs, and how many programs do you think you could accommodate across a season?
Right. So we will be initially we will start focusing on South Gobi in Mongolia, which is very critical to climate change right now, and a lot of people are moving to the city. So our average group will be at the maximum 15, but ideally 12, because we will have Mongolian interpreters as well. And so that's.
And then how many groups do you think you would have across the season?
True. So Mongolia is very cold, as you know. Only summer season is from May to, well, ideally June to August. So that is 3 months. So we are thinking at least 2 departures per month. So that makes us 6 departures per year. Yeah. So that's more, logistically it's more doable. In the past, with my past job, we used to have 20 and 50 students from Dutch. And it was also 2 weeks program, but it was just too much. And as we are starting now, it won't be that big. But also, having the group smaller is more beneficial.
Could you overlap? Would you start with one group, and then they move into the second, and you'd have another group come in
Yeah.
the first week?
I mean, that could happen, but in order to do that, we need more human resource, more logistics. So I don't think at the beginning we cannot. And also at the same time, I don't want this one to be too like busy. You know, the more we are focusing on more quality and impact. Yes.
What is the season?
Season is from June to August. Now becoming September, so it's doing 4 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do one more question.
I have one more, but I forgot what it was. We'll come back.
Yes.
I have another one. Why did you differentiate age groups from the US versus China?
Can I answer this question? So, both Chinese and Mongolians are Asia. So, like Asia parents, they always worried about our safety. So, most of my friends or my classmates, they choose to go to volunteer tourism when they above 18, especially in the college period. So, actually, Natalie asked me the same question in the survey assignment, like why the age is older than she imagined. It's like we are different. We have different cultural aspects. So parents will not allow you like to go another country alone when you are very young.
I would actually recommend you might consider moving the US age up as well. As a father of a 16-year-old daughter, I wouldn't want her there with 24-year-old boys. So,
Yeah, Mark, that's right.
so maybe it's 18 to 24 for all.
For all. Good one.
Good father.
Nice.
That's it. Thanks, ladies.
Thank you.
Let's see if we can get to our technical issues.